Welcome back to the Attunement Podcast, everybody. This is episode number 20. Literally, get out of my face. I'm Harry. This is my friend Samek. The experiment for this podcast is we're going to record a really shitty podcast, and Samek has a message for us.
Yeah, we got Attunement residency September 8th till the 14th. Check out the website, harryandsamek.com.
harryandsamek.com.
Yes, join us for a week of being human together. Everything, all the info is there. And we'll start with Harry this week. What you been learning in the past few weeks?
I'm in confusion, disorientation station. So I'm gonna answer what I'm learning right now because I don't fucking know. I don't know what happened last week. Right now, I have this thing. And it keeps on changing. This is the current form, but it keeps on moving around. The current form is like, I felt rejected by my parents as a kid. And then, so there's like the exile, that's like feeling rejected or abandoned as a kid. And then there's the protector, which is like, I'm going to kill everyone who ever hurt me because this shouldn't have happened and this should never happen again. And then, predictably, this protector recreates the abandonment. But also, when I try to feel the exile, when I try to feel the rejection, which I think would largely heal the pattern, like this protector is so strong that it like brings me back up out of it. So feel the rejection, feel the abandonment really, or the loneliness. And then it's like, I'm going to kill everyone. How am I going to kill them? Or like, I'm going to control everyone, or like, I'm going to control the world into being perfect so that I never get hurt again. And so, yeah, it's just been like every view conversation I have is, and then maybe above that, there's like disorientation and confusion. So like every view conversation I've had in like the past week, it goes like, I'm so confused and disoriented. Do I have a problem? Is everything good? And then under that, it's like, I'm kind of mad, but I'm kind of not mad. Like, I kind of want to kill everyone, and I kind of want to control everything. But I don't really feel like getting angry. Like, am I angry? I don't know. Like, I'm like, I would say, like, I'm in the bully of the fear or drama triangle. And then there's... You're on camera, bro. We're doing side by side this time. I don't know. Are you looking at your phone right now?
I don't have a phone.
Okay, you're just looking down. And that's and then there's like the bully protector. So it goes under the confusion, and then it's like go into the bully protector, and then somehow, I don't even know how that works, somehow we get into the exile, and then I feel it a little bit, and then I pop back up into like I'm gonna kill everyone, and then I like feel a little bit. So that's where I'm at right now. And I guess the other thing that happened this week, which is maybe another version of that, is like, yeah, it kind of is a bigger version of that. Is like, I would like I'd be like, I feel like shit. And then I'd be like, or I'm confused about how to make decisions. And then I'd like build myself a framework. And I have a couple blog posts from last week that are literally like, here's my framework for like not being stuck. And then that would work really well for like 2 days. And then I would start to feel oppressed by it. And then I would burn it all down. And then I'd be like, I'm just going to be authentic. And I still think every part of that process was useful. Like, I don't actually judge that. Like that all, and every part of that process felt kind of good to me. So I don't really have a problem with that. But it was still interesting to like build the framework and want to build the framework and enjoy that, and then destroy the framework and like want to destroy the framework and enjoy that. Yeah, that's the vibe.
What got you off on this pattern? What ticked you off to start investigating this pattern?
I think I'd say two things come up. One, it just like keeps on, like in the last week and a half, it just keeps on being the thing. It's just like, I want, like every view conversation I have, it just comes back to this. And there's been like six different surface level problems, and it just keeps coming back to this. But on like the more intellectual level, I would say I think this is an extension of like the retreat I did like 3 weeks ago. And there I kind of like tapped in, I think, more deeply than I ever had to my pain around feeling abandoned by my mom. And I think this is an extension of that. Like, I think it's continuously feeling into that basically feeling of abandonment, and like all of my patterns that resist feeling that abandonment. Yeah. And I'm thinking about your question, which is like, what I learn. I learned that a lot of my patterns are about avoiding. I think maybe intellectually abandonment, but I would say right now loneliness resonates the most. Like, what am I least willing to feel? And I'm like, lonely? Fuck off, man. I'm not feeling that shit. And also, I had a view conversation a couple hours ago, and that exile, I think it felt like the abandonment was his fault. And there's something about that. There's like a guilt or a shame in that. There's like loneliness plus that guilt or shame. And for me, feeling that just activates the protector so hard. And it's just like, I'm not feeling that. I will kill everyone before I feel that. So yeah, I'm just learning about my patterns and what they're hiding and what triggers them. And because at this point, like, my life is going super well in a lot of ways. And so I'm kind of getting to like feeling safe, and then it's like, oh, what do I want to do? And then it's like, oh, if I feel what I want, then it starts to bring up this pattern too.
That makes sense.
How does that make sense? Because I don't understand it.
There was an amazing tweet by Brett that went, jealousy is an amazing pointer to what you want. Because to fully own what you want, you need to fully feel through everything involved with not getting it and everything involved with fully getting it. So it's like, if you want your partner, if you fully want to be with your partner, you have to feel through all the pain of being rejected by this person you want, being abandoned, being alone. And you also have to feel through all the actually getting a partner that wants you, getting what you want. And then in the other side of that, it's like you're empowered. And a want is a very close somatically sensation to love. It's this expansive, open, like, yes, this is where I'm moving. And you can't do that if you're scared of not getting that want. So for me, it's when I think about the thought, I want a girlfriend, there's a lot of hopelessness and despair that comes along with being with that want, because I have no control over whether like a girl I like likes me back. I can only be myself. And there's an aspect of that is the negative side of that want, of like, if I'm fully owning this want, I need to be okay with never having that want met and all the feelings associated with it that I wouldn't have to deal with if I didn't own the want in the first place. And I also have to be okay with fully getting that want and actually getting a girlfriend that loves me the way that I love them. So when I say it makes sense, it's like, oh yeah, if you want close relationship in any capacity, the first thing that's going to come up, like, and you're actually wanting to own that want, the first thing that's going to come up is the abandonment wound to be felt.
Yeah. Well said. That made a lot of sense. Yeah. That was cool how you said that. And yeah, I do feel, somatically, it's very clear, like, I start to feel the want, which yeah, I think I could say like a want for connection or a want for intimacy, and then it feels like it hits my solar plexus where like the abandonment wound is, and it's like it's not how I feel it, but intellectually I could be like, oh, it's like I want connection, and then the abandonment part is like, what about that time we wanted connection, huh? That didn't go so well, did it? Maybe we should just kill everyone. Um, yeah. Okay, cool. Anything else before we switch?
It's good.
Sick. What are you learning right now, sir?
How to rest. I've been sitting with like, what do I want? How do I want to be right now? A lot, and it just like rests. And there's like that feeling of like, oh yeah, maybe am I stuck? Am I actually stuck right now? I was like, no, I'm not stuck. I did a lot of things over the last few months, weeks, and right now I'm on vacation. I'm in Guatemala with some amazing people, and I hang out with them, sleep like 10 to 11 hours, and I take naps, and then I lay in couches and I journal, and that's all I'm doing. And whenever I do something I don't want, my voice in the head starts kicking up. So I was thinking, I was like, oh my God, Harry's writing so many cool articles. Maybe I want to write one. I don't. So I like wrote like 3 words, and it's like, I don't want to write this shit. Fuck that shit. I started bullet journaling, which has been really helpful, just tracking my day. And like whenever I see like, there's a lot of attractive, beautiful people here.
What's
And
bullet journaling?
bullet journaling is like succinct notes, like kind of like bullet writing bullet points, but the bullet points has multiple forms. So like a circle is for an event, a dash is for a note, an equals is for a feeling, a dot is for a task or an action that you're going to take, and then I have a squiggle, like a circle. Like a squiggle is for I did projections, so if I judge someone or if I have golden shadows. And then as throughout the day, I just like as I go throughout the day, I've just been writing the bullet journal, and I just have this like thing that has kept me mindful of like when I look back throughout my day. It's like, oh yeah, I was judging this person. I was awestruck by this person, and I'm probably projecting something golden shadow onto them, or this pattern came up. And also the events. So like, oh, I want to go eat with this friend, and then we went to go kickboxing, or we did this. Like all the things. As I'm doing it, I'm just writing it down, and that's been keeping my head just like grounded and anchored, while my wants are just rest. So it's been nice to just like follow the rest and do restful things and not feel stuck in it, not feel like force myself to do things I don't want. And even in the bullet journaling, I only do the rapid daily journal that I just described, because they have like weekly reflections and monthly reflection. And when I try to get myself to do weekly reflection, it's my body like just like refuses to even touch the journal. And I'm like, cool, I don't want to like reflect. And what am I reflecting on? I don't want to do any, like I have all these like, if I imagine my reality as a garden, I'm like right now noting all the places the weeds are, but I don't actually want to go weed the garden. I just want to like map out the garden. So it feels like I'm just like slowly mapping out my garden and hanging out and chilling. Like it's like I spent the last 2 months in masterclass Art of Accomplishment. I had my cat passed away. I grieved that. Did a lot of like I did 25 coaching calls. I had a couple bit a pretty big fight with Harry where I would say like a lot of patterns moved for me, and saying no to people is very easy for me now, and doing my own thing feels like okay. And a lot has changed. It's like a whole like area of my garden has been plowed and like weeded out, and like new wants have been planted, and now I'm just like resting. Like I have like a little like chair, and I'm just like resting with my sun hat, looking at the beautiful garden that I just like fixed up. And then I have my notepad, so if I ever see like new pieces of weed, I just like write down. It's like, oh, that could be weeded out in the future. And I've just been resting and just like, what's a good way to rest that also feels like growth oriented, is the way I could put it. And that's what I've been learning right now. And being like around so many amazing people on this trip, there's like more than 20 people on this trip. it just like seeing more. It's been really cool, and there's a lot less judgment. So just like there's so many opportunities for connection, and it's like, oh, I get to rest and be in connection and community, and that's just been nice.
Have you ever played Animal Crossing?
I have not.
Do you know what it is?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, it sounds like Animal Crossing vibes.
Life is Animal Crossing, you know. My reality is this massive garden, and my wants are the seeds that I plant, and then I water it with love and attention, and the
And
wants
you
grow
go
into its own trees.
and you go chat with the little other animals who live in your village.
Yeah, yeah. With the retreat or the thing I'm doing in Guatemala, it's called the village. And
There
we
you
call
go.
everyone else the villagers.
I
And
didn't
we have
even know
four
that. Oh
houses.
my, the village. I think that's literally what they're. That might be what they're called in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, and then
I
the
think that
villagers
is.
go off to do their own thing, and I'm like, "Hey, Dennis," and he's like, "I'm taking an Alethea call," and then I'm like, "Okay, bye."
You guys ripped off Animal Crossing.
My life is Animal Crossing.
Sounds pretty ideal.
Yeah. So right now I'm in a very rest and recover, like being in 404, um, just sleeping and taking my time, and it's like, yeah, I did a lot of work. Now let me recover so that and I can do other work and other stuff in the future.
What what sometimes stops you from resting, and what do you do? Like when
Uh,
it's hard to rest, what makes it hard to rest, and what do you do?
there's like a part of me, I would like it's like the part of me that wants to get shit, like I don't know, like money worries comes up, like now that I don't have a job, it's like, oh, I need to do something to earn money, and then I start doing that, and then the voice in the head gets like really critical because it's like this is not authentic, like this is not what I want, it's like what I'm thinking I want and implementing it, and then usually that happens for like 10 minutes, and immediately I'm like, oh shit, I recognize this pattern. What do I actually want? And then I just listen to that and trust and have faith. And I feel like I've done that enough times where it's like now I have enough faith in my wants, and I have enough faith in myself, like my entire system, such that if a want is not arising to do those things, I trust that it will arise in the future when I am rested and recovered. And if the want right now is to rest and recover, I am assuming that based on everything I know about my current situation, that is the best thing to do. Instead of, my authentic self wants to rest. Let me go ham on making this document on, or making a website for my coaching and making this and making that, so that I could get money. Instead of doing that, I'm like, I start because part of me wants to do that, and and I feel like I am abandoning myself to do that, and then the critical voice starts, and then I acknowledge it immediately, and it's like, what do I want? It's like, oh, I want to rest, and then I stop, and then I plant that the other want back away. It's like, okay, this seed doesn't want to be planted right now, so I'll just wait. But a part of me does want to start my business and do stuff for money, but it doesn't want to happen right now, and I trust that it'll come up in the future. Same with the bullet journaling. Like, I want to do weekly reviews. A part of me does want to do weekly reviews, but right now, like, what would I weekly review? That doesn't even make sense. Like, there's nothing to do weekly review for. So if I force myself to do a weekly review, I'm going against that authentic desire. So they're just like, oh, there is a want here. Let me just put it away in like my basket of seeds, my want seeds.
I,
In
I
gardening
wanna
analogy.
I wanna jump on that, and in my opinion, the reason a lot of stuff behind this, but I'm just gonna say it straight up. In my opinion, a lot of the reasons so many people have math trauma is because they're taught math developmentally too early. And so like they basically get something they don't want shoved down their throat that if they were taught later when they actually wanted it, when they were like trying to bake and they actually wanted to understand math or whatever it is, they might naturally want it and naturally learn it and naturally appreciate its usefulness. And so I'm just connecting to that, and like in my understanding, forcing people or forcing ourselves to do things before we're ready just hurts us in the long run.
Yeah, agree with that take.
Anything else on this topic for you?
Helpless. There's a lot of helplessness in allowing yourself to rest that I didn't realize was there.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you relate to the helplessness?
I'm very comfortable with helplessness. I just let it be there. I'm just like, oh, I feel really helpless right now. Because it's like, I want to do all these things, but authentically, I want to rest. And I can't change that authentic want to be all these other things that I want. That is not like, it's like, I do want these things, but I don't want it right now. So I just like continuously feel helpless if I'm like holding on to them. So I just like let myself feel helpless, and then it lets go. And there's a surrender, and there's a relief, and there's even a deeper rest in that.
How do you personally tell the difference between your authentic wants and your inauthentic wants?
There's a lot of ease and expansiveness. I mean, the other ones are also authentic wants, but there's like an aspect of like the authentic want is what wants to happen right now.
Mm.
And like those are wants. Like I still feel like I want those things, but I don't want it right now. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
I like phrasing that as the question, like, what wants to happen right now?
Yeah. Which is like one of the wants of a should week for Art of Accomplishment. It's like ask yourself daily, like, how do you want to be right now? Or like
Yeah.
one of the partner exercises also like, how do you want to be right now? And that's such a good question. How do I want to be right now? That's it. I will ask you, what am I curious about? I'm curious about your dating thing, because now you're like, tweeted about it, put a bounty up. You're talking to women now. What's happening? What are you learning? How's that going?
I appreciate your frame on that because I have a self judgment, but also I have a self judgment that I'm not doing anything about dating or finding a girlfriend or finding a wife, and I have a feeling that I'm not doing anything about it beside the judgment, and it reminds me of just what we were talking about with when I'm just following what I want in the moment. There's such an ease to it that I'm not like doing anything. I'm not doing anything. So there is a sense in which I'm doing nothing about it, which I guess I'm proud of, because I want to do nothing about it in that sense. And from the perspective you just said, I was like, oh yeah, like, I mean, they were online dates, but like I went on 2 dates last week. I did literally tweet, I'll pay you $2,000 if you introduce me to your future wife. Someone else texted me and was like, I have someone who I think might be your future wife. Literally right before this call, someone sent me, I'm just going to say it straight up. Someone emailed me a video of themselves and was like, yo, I think you're super cool. I think we can get married. I was like, whoa. That was very flattering. I replied with a video DM. We'll see what happens, everybody. And I wrote that blog post called Taoist Flirting, and I did have a day or two where I was like super in my heart. Like the start of that blog post is like, I flirted with 4 beautiful women today with 0 effort and a full open heart, which is pretty true, and it was pretty awesome. And there's like the pendulation, and so, but I'll still tell part of that story, which is I attended the free Joe Hudson rapid fire coaching. Highly recommend. It's stupidly valuable. And what I saw, and you read the blog post, but I'll still tell a version of the story. What I saw in that rapid fire coaching was people going, I don't know what to do. And Joe Hudson going, what does your heart say? And they check their heart and they're like, oh, I know what to do. And then they're like, wait, but how do I stay in my heart? And then Joe Hudson's like, what does your heart say about that? And they're like, I can just stay here? And then they're like, it can't be that easy. And then Joe Hudson's like, what's your heart say about that? And they're like, it's that easy? And then they explode. So for me, that rapid fire coaching really, and I felt when watching one of the calls, I was like, you know, and the thing someone listening to this has, and the thing I've had many times, which is you hear or you see someone else realize how easy it is, and you're like, yeah, but it's not that easy for me. And so I like saw that thought, and I was like, okay, what do I have to, if I assume it's that easy for me, what do I have to feel? And I'm like, oh, jeez. I guess for me, there's like fear and excitement and expansiveness and like ease and like, yeah, expansiveness. And maybe some grief. And then having felt that more, and it's just like, oh, do I want to assume that it's hard or do I want to assume that it's easy? It's like, oh, I want to assume that it's easy. And so that, like, for the next day, I was like, oh, I can just stay in my heart. And, like, that's easy. And so I did. And then I just kept on staying in my heart. And I kept on wanting to show reality how much I loved it. And turns out that beautiful women are part of reality. And that I was interacting with a bunch of them that day. And, yeah, it was just super nice, like, to, like, ask beautiful women the questions I actually wanted to ask them, instead of like trying to do it right. Yeah, and there was you know, one of the easy like surface level wants for me to get attached to, and probably a lot of people, is like, I need a girlfriend, or like I should be making more progress on getting a girlfriend. And I feel like part of the insight of that journey I just told was like, okay, if I'm in my heart, do I need a girlfriend? And just like, no. It's like, oh, that's really helpful for getting a girlfriend. And it's also helpful for not needing to get a girlfriend. It's kind of like you said with the wants, like to fully own a want, you have to feel everything you would get if you got it, and you have to feel everything you'd feel if you didn't get it. Yeah.
I don't know if I should share this. Next year's reunion is on. I don't know if I should share this. Did I share this?
It's up to you.
I don't know if it was a secret or not. Next year's reunion for Art of Accomplishment is on wants and boundaries.
Oh, that's sick.
I know. So this year is on projections, and we had a podcast, I think it was episode 11, on just the world as a projection and how do you reclaim your projections. And we had a cool exercise there. And I'm excited for next year, where it's going to be on wants and boundaries. And both of those things are, I feel like, the major thing I've been learning over the past few weeks. Yeah. And I feel like are one of the most important things in relationships is owning wants and setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Anything else on the... Yeah, keep going.
Or, yeah, just I notice, like, kind of, I notice I'm feeling less attached to finding a girlfriend or wife than normal, and I am feeling more, like, trusting in the universe on that path. And a lot of the last, like, 2 weeks for me have been, like, all these surface level problems, and the surface level problems basically keep on coming back to either that exile I was talking about, or the inner critic, and mostly the inner critic. So most of the last 2 weeks for me has just been like, how can I improve my relationship with myself? And now I'm going to go into this one, which is actually super related. So On that retreat I was on 3 weeks ago, I was flirting with this girl, and she started like, I forget why, but she started, oh yeah, I remember why, but it's a long story. She started pretending to be a dude, and she's like weirdly good at like positioning her body like a dude. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So then we were flirting with each other, but with her pretending to be a man. And then like 20 minutes later, we were flirting and I was pretending to be a woman. And that was like, I was pretty intimidated by her. I was like, this woman's so hot. Like, I kind of can't believe she's talking to me right now. And, but when I was pretending to be a woman, I felt like fully permission, because like, I feel like women like touch each other more and they're like closer and there's like more energy in their voice and all these things. Like, they're just more expressive. And so I felt so permission, and I was like, holy shit, I'm like being fully as flirty and confident and expressive as I want to be. And it feels so easy because I'm pretending to be a woman. So I feel like another thing for me this week is like, I feel like my feminine energy, I feel like I've been punished a lot for being in my masculine energy, especially at my college, but also at different times in my life. I feel like I've been punished very little for being in my feminine energy. So like when I'm in my feminine energy and this like flowy, bubbly, pretending to be a woman, it's just like, of course you're gonna enjoy this. Like, I'm being flowy and bubbly and energetic and cute, like in the same way that like you'd enjoy like a 5-year-old girl like being cute and laughing and like frolicking. Like, who's not gonna enjoy that? Like, that's kind of how I feel when I'm in my inner feminine. Like, who's not gonna enjoy this? Like, what? And like, if someone doesn't enjoy it, like, what? But like my inner masculine is like, oh, everyone's gonna hate this. I'm gonna get punished for this. No one wants to connect with this. This is dangerous. I should be punished for this. And this is inherently aggressive, or like, this is inherently violent. Is like the associations around it. And okay, it's coming together. So working with the relationship in myself, something I found, I think this week, is my inner critic is kind of more like this inner masculine that feels oppressed and is like attacking me. And so now I just like I go into my inner feminine, like I pretend to be a woman, and I just like beam love at the inner critic, and it just works really well. And there's something about it, like, if I, Harry, try to love the inner critic, then the inner critic's like, fuck you, you don't care about me. And I'm kind of like, like, do I care about you? Am I just doing this to try to get rid of you? But like, if I pretend to be a woman and then, or like, you know, go to my ideal mother figure, whatever you want to call it, if I go to my inner feminine and I beam at the inner critic's like, fuck you, you don't care about me. And like, from the inner feminine, I'm just like, do you want a hug? Like, I got you. And it's like, yes, and fuck you. And it's just like, I got you, bro. Like,
Oh.
and like, inner critic just like melting into like the love from women or mom that it never got, and literally like other parts popping up that are like, come over here, please. Like, oh my God. And so one, I found that super useful. Two, I feel like that's like bringing up more inner masculine parts that want that love from the inner feminine. And so I just feel like new parts are popping up more strongly. And literally on the last date I was on, I was like hyping myself up. I was like, I'm just going to pretend to be a woman. Because for me right now, if I go into pretending to be a woman, it's so easy to express love. It's so easy to express love. And it's also like, it's like full on me pretending to be a woman, which is like, oh my God, like, are you serious? But I mean it significantly less than that. I just more mean like connecting with my inner feminine, especially in the date context. But yeah, it's the fucking vibe.
That is a fucking vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm too tired to do voice in the head work because I feel like that's the most exhausting. One of the most exhausting, I would say, parts of emotional work you could do, especially holding space for that. Like whenever I take the connection course, the last day, the voice in the head day, the vulnerability day, always fucks me up for at least 3 days afterwards. And it's so tiring. And it's like, cool, I'm not gonna, like, this is not the time for me to be doing that. But also, I can see the value in learning how to love that part of me that's like shitting on me, that's like completely critical about every little action that I'm taking in the moment. I think it shows up for things that I got, again, a lot of criticism for. Like, if I'm writing, for me, writing, especially like writing essays, or like, so like when I was like thinking about writing a blog post, it's like, fuck, I don't want to deal with this motherfucker who's going to come online to criticize me. Well, like talking for me is like very, like, I can give speeches, I can do improv, I don't know, I could talk without the inner critic. But for writing, there's an aspect of the inner critic comes online and starts judging, and there's a lot of parts there that want to be healed, and know that I have the capacity to heal them. And right now, I don't want to do that, so it's been like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I like that right now I don't want to do that because yesterday I was talking to someone about everything I just told you, and I was like, the only problem left I see is that sometimes it feels like an obligation to like boot up the inner feminine and beam it at the inner critic. I'm like, oh, I guess that probably just means it's actually not the right solution for that time.
yeah,
Like it actually doesn't feel authentic, and like even though that's often been a great solution, especially in the last 10 days, like if it doesn't feel authentic, then I'm going back to like shoving math down someone's throat. Like
yeah,
if it doesn't feel authentic, I'm actually like ruining the tool for myself by using it out of obligation. Like it's gonna stink of obligation for however long because of that. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's another thing where like I have so many tools to use with the voice in the head. And if right now I don't want to use any of them and I force myself to use them, like ouch.
Yeah.
Just ouch.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm a little heavy on this probably, but I think it works for my patterning, which is like at this point I quite rarely like using a like pre-made tool, and more I know of so many tools that I just like
Conjure one up in the moment.
yeah, just like conjure one up, like this like I'm gonna
Yeah,
pretend to be a woman and beam it at my inner critic, or like I'm gonna have a view conversation with my inner critic,
yeah.
or like I'm gonna write to an AI about how I'm angry, just like whatever feels right in the moment.
So I
And
do the
that's
same.
yeah, that's been feeling pretty good, like because at this point, and Joe Hudson has the banger, which is like at some point in the path you have to see through the framework itself, you have to see through the spiritual teachings itself, and like at this point I think, and maybe this is always true, but especially at this point, I think like I have better ideas about how to serve myself than some framework.
Yeah.
Even Art of Accomplishment, which I think is a fucking goated framework.
Yeah. Good
It's
take,
just
good
like
take.
I've got so much information on myself at this point. Like, shut up, Joe Hudson. There, I said it. Art of Accomplishment, more like fart of accomplishment?
I call it art of getting fucked because I feel like I've never not taken a course where I'm just getting fucked.
Any other curiosities on this one? I think I'm personally
That's one
good.
all over and it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what's my question for you? Yeah, it's like what are you letting go of right now? Like there's something that, let's say this week or today, you're like, I can't let go of this because then it's just going to go into the universe and then I might not get it. Like basically there's something you had an agenda to get. And I'm like, what are you letting go of an agenda to get? What are you letting go of?
Mm. I feel like the previous answer to the that I answered you is like very similar. It's like in a way right now I just want to rest. So any agenda I have that's not rest, I it's like there's gonna be helplessness around until there is an eventual surrender. It's like okay, I guess I'm resting.
But like what do you let go? What do you have to let go of for you? Like it sounds like you had to let go of like writing a blog post.
Yeah,
But like I don't know, what's that attached to? Like are you letting go of like making money? Or are you letting go of like
yeah. I'm
doing
letting go
shit?
of I'm letting go of making money right now. I'm letting go of accomplishing shit right now. I'm letting go of being productive right now. I'm letting go of I don't know finding a girlfriend right now.
And if all of those things, I'm like, what's the deeper thing you're letting go of that's connected to all of those things?
I'm letting go of looking for safety and looking for
Bang,
growth.
bang.
Yeah. There's a lot of
That's
like,
sick.
yeah, it's been a lot of like helplessness. The helplessness is like, oh, I gotta get safe. I gotta be safe by doing this. Or I gotta grow so that I get to be safe. And then, I don't know. There's a helplessness, eventual surrender. And it doesn't feel like I'm choosing to surrender. A part of me is surrendering. And then I'm just okay being here. And I'm just like, okay, I'm here. I'm here. I'm chilling. There's nothing happening. There's like a saying in the Buddhist frame of like, peaceful of mind, peaceful of body is like the state of an awakened being, blah, blah, blah. But, blah, blah, blah. But there is a very felt sense of like, my body feels incredibly peaceful and my mind feels incredibly peaceful when I am following exactly what I want to do. And there isn't one thing that's like happened is like there's very little doubt regarding what I want to do right now because there's a lot more trust and that's been nice.
Bang.
Yeah. The one thing that helped with that is definitely like the fight we had. Um, I don't know if we're gonna talk about it fully, but there's like I don't know. There's a poem I'm gonna read you guys. Wes read it to me yesterday, and we had a poetry night here, and it was fucking beautiful. And it really fucking like I started crying. I started completely crying when he read this poem. It's called "The Invitation" by Oren Mountain something. I don't remember the full name, but the poem's called "The Invitation," and it goes, "It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dreams, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayal, or have been shriveled and closed from the fear of further pain. Want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful. Be realistic. Remember the limitation of being human. It doesn't interest me if the stories you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it is not pretty every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours in mind, and stand still at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up from the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. Oh, that's a...
Can you read the last stanza again?
Yeah. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. Such a banger poem. And yeah, Carrie's giggling, but there was like a lot of like fights. I don't know, the way Harry responded when I was going through my grief, for me, that landed like betrayal. And I don't know, betrayal hurts. Like, it's like not just like, it doesn't matter what the other person says. Like, if something is taken as betrayal, it goes deep. It goes into really deep fires. And learning to forgive someone, learning to go into the betrayal and not shiver up and be scared of further pain, as it says, like, if you've been opened up by life's betrayal or have been shriveled and closed from the fear of further pain.
And I want to add to that, the line that stood out to me the most was something like, I want to know if you can be betrayed and not betray your own soul.
Yes. Yeah. So there was a feeling of when Harry responded, as Harry does, to like a request for support when I was grieving my cat, that I interpreted as betrayal of like, oh, this guy doesn't care about me. This guy is not my friend. He doesn't love me. He doesn't. And there was so much pain in that. And I also knew, like a part of me knew, it's like, oh, this is just Harry. And I know he cares about me. Like, I've had a lot of deep conversations with him. And I know he's being defensive. And a part of me sees this as betrayal, and I want to honor that fully. And going through the process of like, oh, this feels like a betrayal. This feels like a really deep wound that I would end most friendships over. And not letting it just like, okay, that's it. Moving on, friendship with Harry over. Instead of doing that, like going into that pain, going into that fire and just like letting it burn me. Letting it burn all the parts of me that aren't really me. It's like the Pema Chodron quote that goes like, offer yourself up for annihilation. Like, offer all parts of yourself up for annihilation to see what remains that is essentially you, or something. Like, I kept, like, it's like, no. Like, I see the pain that this betrayal has, and I know that, like, that's not all of it. Like, I'm going to open myself and let myself burn in the pain of the betrayal. And, like, as I did that, this was, like, 2-3 weeks ago. Like, that's why we took a break from the podcast for a few weeks. As I sat in that, it was very much like, oh, wow, there's a lot of pain here. There's a lot of, like, ways of I was being that caused it so the betrayal, like, that text or his message hurt in the way that it did. And, yeah, I don't want that kind of pain in my life. But that doesn't mean I need to cut this person off. It just means I want to show up in a way where I protect what I care about and I don't feel that pain. And I think in relationships, like one thing that happens even in close friendships is like, there's this enmeshment that happens where like my wants and the other person wants kind of get like fucked up and mixed up. and that makes like the relationship really painful with whoever and whatever. Um, and I think me and Harry had a little bit of that going on, and going through that process of just like sitting in the fire and being with that pain and letting it open me up instead of letting me shrivel up from it allowed me to just like cut all those emotions. Like, oh, this is what I want. This is what Harry wants. This is what I want. This is what Harry wants. And that's okay. And that clean break just allowed me to be like, oh, I love Harry. And I'm not Harry. And I'm Samek. And I love Samek. And this is fucking awesome. Like that was a very like clear experience that came out of it. And there was also a lot of sympathy that I had for betrayal in the past, like if someone felt betrayed by me. But I didn't have empathy because I never have been on the other side of like this like feeling of deep betrayal and like the amount of pain that causes, and like the experience of being opened up by betrayal was such a beautiful, like great, like I'm really grateful that I was able to go through it with Harry, which is like I would view as very emotionally intelligent. um and yeah, it gave me a lot of empathy for friends who have felt betrayed by me in the past when I made a sly comment, a sly comment that like just caught them in a wound, like a really deep wound that like caused them to feel fully betrayed by me as a friend. Or I would say like reading, I don't know, anything about marriages and how people cheat, and like I think a major part of it is like infidelity is just betrayal. Like it's not about the other person, it's like you betrayed me, and the pain of that. Like I didn't have any empathy for that prior to this experience, and now it's like, oh yeah, this is a very like life is filled with betrayals. Like life will betray you, and how are you going to relate to that betrayal? Like how will you come out the other side of that betrayal has been something that like I've been sitting with, and not really sitting with. I'm on the other side of just been resting and integrating that experience. Yeah.
I was talking. Thanks for sharing. I was talking to my friend Olive who left here, and she, whatever. Olive's. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have named Olive, but Olive is distant enough from the people who listen to these podcasts that I think is fine. But she was telling me about like similar patterns in some of her relationships, and she's more normally on your side of the pattern. So I'd say like my side of the pattern is being controlling, and I would say your side of the pattern, and I've also been on your side of the pattern before. I'd say your side of the pattern in this instance. What would you call your side of the pattern?
I don't know. You can give it a go, I guess.
I would call it. So it's like we could call it enmeshment. We could call it like not being able to access your truth in the presence of someone who's controlling. You could say lose. I'm going to call it losing your center.
That's a great one.
And so Olive was talking about that in her. So I've played out this pattern in romantic relationships. It doesn't go great. What I'm saying is I'm grateful that we get to play it out in not a romantic relationship, because Olive was telling me about it in her romantic relationship. I'm like, oh yeah, like in my romantic relationships, and it sounds like in yours, Olive, like when there's like possible marriage or possible sex, or even just that much intimacy and that much like how much you could feel validated by that person, or how much self-worth you could have in that person, like the stakes are just higher for most people in like some pretty huge ways. And even just like, am I going to have sex with this person tonight? But also like, are we going to get married and have kids together? Like both of those can feel like very high stakes. And so for me to like, in a romantic relationship, to not get identified and feel compelled into my controlling pattern, it's like the stakes are so high that it's so much harder to like let go and not have an agenda and not control. but I appreciate getting to fight with you in these patterns, because like, you know, once it gets hot enough, once it gets tense enough, I find myself pretty able to be like, okay, I see what's going on. I kind of just gotta let go. Obviously, I want to be friends with Samek, but like, Samek leaves, there's nothing I can do. Like, I can't, and I don't want to control Samek into staying. So it sucks, but like, there's nothing I can do. Um, Whereas like, with my last ex-girlfriend, I did not get to that point of non-agenda. Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I feel like having these kinds of fights and friendships, it's like there's it's easier to heal from because there's less enmeshment as a whole and less risk and everything. But there's also like it's easier to end the friendship, like way easier to just leave. Like both things are like very true.
yeah. I see what you're saying. I see both. Like, it's easier to leave, but I also see there's less of like a bitterness. Like, my most recent ex-girlfriend would do a thing where like a couple 2 or 3 times she'd be willing to just break up like instantly. Like we're having an argument and she's like, I'm out. Like, we're done, I'm out. I'm like, oh my, whoa. And I feel like that comes from like a bitterness. I don't know what to call it. A bitterness.
I mean, I
That I
had
feel
like there was an aspect of like, oh, if I don't, when I felt the betrayal, there was like a rage, like I'm gonna fucking kill Harry.
Yeah.
Like there was this rage, and I could turn the rage off, like very easily. I was just like, oh, the rage is gone, and immediately it turned into this apathy and bitterness.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
cool. I don't want that.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
rather want to kill Harry than not care at all about his presence and close my heart off to him.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like that's what causes people to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. I just feel like with friends, that's like a harder story to buy into. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's like harder to buy into the story that you're being fundamentally betrayed by a friend than you are by a romantic partner.
Yeah. It's easier to see through the story that you're being betrayed.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
makes healing from the betrayal much easier.
yeah.
But I feel like once you have that experience, I feel like I just got like a vaccine dose for betrayal. Like it's like a vaccine, like a mini dose of betrayal. And it was a pretty large dose. It like took a few weeks to get over. Um, but yeah, there's like definitely an experience of like, oh, I feel like future betrayals will be easier to be seen through, given this experience.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it won't be hard and it won't be painful and I won't have to burn away like probably different layers of identity, but yeah. Isn't that what we're here for?
Anything else here, sir?
No. I feel like this is a good place to end it.
Cool. I'm gonna say one last thing, which is movie recommendation. Everybody, I Heart Huckabees is really good. It's kind of like a philosophical, existential, absurdist, funny movie. I highly recommend it. Me and 6 of my friends here watched it on my friend's bed 3 nights ago, and it was cute as fuck. And I really liked it. And yeah, I just think if you're listening to this podcast, you would probably like it too, including Samek. And on that, Samek, take us out.
Thanks everyone for watching the 20th, Big 20 episode of the Attunement Podcast. We'll continue doing this for as long as we enjoy it.
That's our promise to you. Thank you all for listening. I love you all. And you're cute.